Since the day that this watch was first released, it went straight to the top of my wish list of watches that I'm going to purchase from Aliexpress. So I knew that at some point I was definitely going to buy this watch. And that time, well, that time is now, because that watch has just arrived on my doorstep. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches, and it is the IX&DAO, or the IX&DAO watch, the Dragon Scale Dive watch, which has been on the top of my wish list since the day that it was released. I've looked at all the photos of this, I've watched lots of videos about this, and I knew that I was definitely going to have this watch into my collection. I was just waiting for the right time to order it, and it became the right time to order it when Aliexpress themselves reached out to me and said, hey, we want to give you a little bit of store credit to go and buy something and create a video about it. And I thought, well, that's exactly the right motivation for me to use that credit plus some of my own money to go and buy this watch for myself. But that is why you would have seen that sponsored icon pop up there. It is because Aliexpress themselves gave me a little bit of store credit, effectively giving me a discount to buy this watch. But I'm going to leave a link to the store that I bought this watch from. And I want to show you now, because it has just arrived with me, what first stood out to me about this watch. So yes, finally this particular watch has arrived. I knew it would be entering my collection. This is the JD X07S. In particular, it's the Blue Dragon's skin or scale dial version. Comes with a little interesting little wallet, which is cool. Has the warranty card that is not filled out. Inside there is one of those sort of details about the movement, etc. Comes with a heap of different straps. I'll feature them a little bit more when I do the full review of this one, but there seems to be a rubber strap and also like a single pass NATO style strap. But I'm not sure if I'll be using those because the bracelet on this one, well, it's actually really nice. And that bracelet is actually one of 4 things that stood out to me as soon as this watch arrived, because, well, all of those links are individual, which is quite impressive. You'll also see that there is a polished little center sort of section there that runs down, which is not immediately obvious, but it gives you a little bit of nice little light play. But because there are all those small links, you can just imagine how comfortable that is on wrist. However, all those little links may make you be a little bit concerned that it is a hair puller or that it is sharp. And I can tell you, there's a tiniest little bit of sharpness if you go that way, but it's beautifully soft that way. And the edges are soft, which is the main concern. And I've already had to size this one up because I've wanted to wear this one. You can see they are all little individual links. But of course it was the dial that also really stood out to me, and that's probably the main reason that I wanted to own this one. They call it the Blue Dragon Scale. I'm not sure if I see dragon scales. I almost see like a suit of armor the way that it has. It almost looks like a set of abs down the center there. But what I can say is that it is more 3D than I expected. And it's more of a satin finish than I expected too. So it's really interesting. And depending on how the light hits it, depending on what happens and how it sort of looks, it almost in a way looks slightly cartoonish, which is very interesting. Now I have to show the case back because I was not expecting this to be so intricate, so 3D, and so awesome. That's a dragon, obviously then linking in with that dial and what they're talking about, but I think I may now have a new favorite case back than I've ever experienced. That is super cool, both the subject matter, the details of it, how it looks, and just how 3D it is. But something that also stood out to me, and it was probably not that unexpected, is just the overall quality of it. I've owned a couple of the IX&DAO watches before, and they've always been very, very good. Both the brushing and the polishing, the way it's put together. The bracelet then on this one is definitely a standout, and yeah, on the fly adjustment too. And I do like the fact that they've used a slightly smaller dimensions, so it then fits down on wrist. It almost feels a bit Seiko-esque in regards to dimensions. But before I stick it on wrist, let me just show you that it has really lovely bezel action, which I know lines up well. It has a screw down crown, giving it, I think it is 200 meters of water resistance. I think this is a Seiko powered watch. I'm not even 100% sure. This is a first impressions. I don't bother about any of that stuff or preparing for these videos. I just want to share with you what stood out to me. And definitely the on-wrist experience stood out to me. And I sort of knew that it would fit down nicely this way because I sort of knew the dimensions of it. But I didn't expect that. Look how nicely it sits down. I've got a 17 centimeter wrist for your reference, and it just holds down nicely, and it's a really nice balance to it too. Yes, I knew this one would be good, and it's turned out to be really good. Stay tuned to the channel, because in about a few weeks or so, I'll end up doing a full review of this one and give you all those details that I'm not aware of right now. But until then, maybe you can watch a couple of my other videos.